Good morning, Colorado. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. The weather was absolutely gorgeous, so I hope you were out to go on and enjoy it and see the aspen leaves turning to their beautiful gold colors. And I welcome you to Colorado Mortgage and Home Loan Rate Update for Monday, the 26th of September. And I'm Randy Flood, the only certified mortgage coach in the state of Colorado. In the rates go up category, news-wise, nothing, although Europe is having an effect on us, and I'll talk about that in a second. In the rates go down category, the new home sales were absolutely terrible, and I'll show you a graph to show you really how bad they were. We have a lot of news this week, especially consumer confidence, especially interested in that because it's forward-looking, durable orders, and GDP. The new home sales came in around 295, and this is in thousands. And when you take a look at it, back in the boom days, real estate booms of 2005, 2006, we're at 1,400. So you can see that we're way off of where we should be. We need to be up here at least in the 800 range. As I mentioned, I think this is the lowest it's ever been. I want to show this chart because this happened overnight. And here's the Asian markets. And the Asian markets indices were doing really terrible, which meant money was flowing to the 10-year bond. So we actually had the 10-year bond hit about 103, which was very, very good. And then they were start talking about Europe, the bailout, a $440 billion bailout. And just from that, you can see it went down to a little over 102. And that's almost 7/8 of a drop, and that is huge. And that's only about talk. There are no definite plans to help Greece and the other countries. In the mortgage-backed securities market, you'll be able to see that we are on a downward trend. We broke the downward trend, and if you take a look from our high to where we are now, it's about a full basis point. So we've come down quite a ways. I expect that fairly soon. I don't know if it'll be today, tomorrow, or later this week, but I think we'll come down and test the 10-day moving average. This is what the other mortgage market timing services are recommending. Rate alert, their position is unchanged. Once again, there's going to be a lot of volatility, and their position is, keep on floating unless you're going to close your loan within 7 days. The daily rate lock advisory, their position is unchanged, and they're recommending if you're closing within 20 days, lock, otherwise float. I go with rate alert, and because I think rates are going to improve, but there's still going to be a lot of volatility, and you got to be ready to make the most of it and lock when the bond prices improve, which means mortgage interest rates fall. In summary, new hope for the $440 billion bailout of Europe. To me, it sounds like all fluff because there's no plan. The European central banks, they're talking about cutting rates, and that's good because in the position they're in, they can't afford to default, but by the same token, they also have to be concerned about the inflation. And Timothy Geithner, he shares his concerns about the U.S. deficit at the IMF meeting. Geithner also warns Europe that it has to do a lot more than what they're doing with the problems with Greece. And speaking of Greece, Greece strikes to protest austerity, and that's, even the police department and the government. I just hope there are no riots or anything in the streets, and this may last for 1 to 2 days. As I mentioned, Hughes Newsweek, GDP and consumer confidence will be really telling of what's happening. As I mentioned, we broke the upward trend in the mortgage-backed securities. We may test the 10-day moving average fairly soon, and we've fallen over 1 point from the peak. So saying all this, no, we don't have the lowest rates ever, but they are still very, very low, and I would recommend taking advantage of it. Now, the thought of the day: a smooth sea never made a skilled mariner. And this is an English proverb. And this is very true because what happens is, you're tested, and when you're tested, you develop better skills. And I mean, even steel, in building swords or anything like that, it's beaten and it's hammered into place, and it makes you a better person. And especially in these economic times, it's making us better stewards of our money. If you're buying a Colorado home or needing to refinance your Colorado mortgage, definitely call me. I'm available 24/7. Now, for the mortgage advice that you can count on, if you really like all this, please go and comment below, because I'd like to see what your thoughts are on where the market is headed. And as always, only wanting the best for you. Take care.